TikTok battles for survival in U.S. Supreme Court over free speech and national security concerns. Washington, D.C., January 10, 2025. The U.S. Supreme Court convened to hear oral arguments in the consolidated cases TikTok Inc. versus Merrick B. Garland, number 24-656, and Brian Firebaugh versus Merrick B. Garland, number 24-657, focusing on the controversial legislation that could force TikTok to shut down operations in the United States within 10 days unless ByteDance, its parent company, executes a divestiture. The landmark case pits concerns about national security and foreign influence against First Amendment protections, drawing significant public and legal scrutiny. TikTok has become one of the most popular social media platforms in the United States, making the stakes of this decision extraordinarily high. TikTok, represented by Noel J. Francisco, argued that the act forcing ByteDance to divest is a direct burden on TikTok's free speech. Francisco emphasized that TikTok's algorithm, central to its user experience, constitutes a form of editorial discretion and, therefore, protected speech under the First Amendment. Under the act, one of America's most popular speech platforms will shut down in 9 days. That shouldn't happen for 3 reasons, Francisco stated, pointing to TikTok's operations as a U.S. company and the content-based nature of the government's action. The U.S. government, represented by Solicitor General Elizabeth B. Prelogar, defended the act, citing ByteDance's potential vulnerability to Chinese laws requiring cooperation with the Chinese government's intelligence operations. The government argued that TikTok poses a unique risk to U.S. citizens' data security and could potentially enable foreign propaganda. Chief Justice John Roberts pressed TikTok's counsel, asking whether the company's ownership by ByteDance, subject to Chinese law, should factor into the court's analysis of national security risks. Francisco contended that the act's focus on platforms with user-generated content, excluding business, travel, and product reviews, is inherently content-based. By singling out TikTok for divestiture, he argued, the government effectively discriminates against the platform's speech. Justice Elena Kagan explored the nature of the burden on TikTok, questioning whether the restrictions were incidental or directly aimed at curbing TikTok's ability to operate as it currently does. The court's decision could have profound implications for TikTok and the broader tech industry. Shutdown looming. Without intervention, TikTok must cease operations in the U.S. by January 20, 2025. This deadline underscores the urgency of the Supreme Court's deliberations. Algorithm control. Severing ByteDance from TikTok could dismantle the platform's ability to maintain its recommendation engine, which relies on a global engineering team. TikTok's legal team warned this would compromise user experience and competitiveness. Precedent for national security cases. The ruling could set a significant precedent for balancing national security concerns with constitutional protections, particularly in cases involving foreign-owned companies. The justices grappled with the lack of clear precedent for regulating a major social media platform under the guise of national security. Chief Justice Roberts acknowledged the novelty of the case, remarking, "I'm not aware of any time in American history where Congress has tried to shut down a major speech platform." A ruling in favor of TikTok would safeguard the platform's operations, but could raise questions about oversight of foreign-owned tech companies. Conversely, upholding the act would signal a robust federal stance on national security, potentially reshaping how foreign companies operate in the U.S. tech landscape. For now, TikTok's fate remains uncertain, with just days left before the imposed shutdown deadline. The case exemplifies the complex intersection of free speech, global politics, and digital security in the modern era. All eyes will remain on the Supreme Court as it prepares to issue a ruling that could redefine the boundaries of tech regulation and constitutional rights.